Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to another day, y'all. Welcome to another day. I am MRJ. Welcome to Songs of Psalms, chapter 90. Welcome to Songs of Psalms, chapter 90. And if you're watching for the first time or listening for the first time, the Songs of Psalms is a study that we're doing in the Psalms from a songwriting perspective. And so we're here to dive into these Psalms and to learn a little bit about how to be a better songwriter, but really we learn things about life, and songs are about life and about our journey, and they capture those moments. And so in our last episode, I gave a little brief intro on the songwriter of this psalm. And it happens to be that was God's closest human friend, Moses. And, the great and humble Moses. He was such a humble man. And so he is so fascinating. And it was nice to see that something he wrote was included in the book of Psalms, because the Psalms are known for the other writers, King David and Asaph and Haman and Yeduthan. Those were the chief musicians, and there were other psalmists that wrote psalms, and they wrote prayers and songs that would lead and guide the people. But it was really nice to see that our friend, God's closest friend, Moses, wrote this particular psalm. And so we were happy to see that. So, there were some important things that we talked about him, and you can go back and listen to that video from yesterday. Moses, when he wrote this, he wrote 17 verses, which is a little bit different than the prior psalm, Psalm 89. That psalm had 52 verses, and so to see this particular psalm and what it's going to address, he wrote it in 17 verses, and I thought that was pretty interesting. This psalm is a prayer. It's a prayer that Moses recorded. It was a written conversation that he had with God. And why is this important? Because when you look at this psalm, when you look it over, you're going to see that there's nothing special. There's nothing special about it. There was nothing mind-blowing about this particular psalm, yet it was written down and it was recorded for us. And we'll get to talk about it. We'll get into it. But listen, I feel like if this weren't important, it would not have been written and recorded for us to read in 2022. This was written God knows when. Over 2,000, maybe over 3,000 years ago, this was written, and we don't know. We don't know how long it was written, but can you believe that in 2022, we are still reading it? So obviously there's something important about it, something that we need to know. Good morning, Abby. Good morning, Daddy. God bless you guys. Love you guys. I pray you're having a good day. Daddy, you're too much. Yeah, he just be spoiling me with his words of affirmation. And think about your life. How often have you said something that it was recorded for all to read and to see? Right? If you had parents like I had, right? They probably kept little drawings and little things that you did when you were little, little, what do you call those? Like the little trinkets that you write, the little cards that you write, the first time that you wrote your name, the first time that you wrote a Mother's Day card, right? That was kept. Why was it kept? Why was that kept? It was because they wanted to preserve that little piece of sweetness and cuteness for all your life. And they figured that someday when you were older, they would show you the first time you wrote the alphabet, right? The first time you wrote your name, the first Mother's Day card that you gave. So we can definitely say that when we write something and we preserve it, it's because it needs to be preserved. It has a purpose. And so that's what this psalm, when you read it, it was preserved for a reason. And when you first look at it, you're kind of scratching your head and you're like, what is this psalm about? What is it saying? And that's what I asked when I read it. I was like, what is it saying? Because there's nothing special. Like, if you look at it, you may just want to skip it over, move on, and move on with your life. There's like nothing. It does nothing for me, right? When you read it, that's kind of like the attitude that you have. There's nothing about it that is special. But as I read it, I said, you know what? As a songwriter, I want to understand how to write songs that matter, songs that can touch me, songs that I can use to express some of the things that are inside. And if it touches me, then possibly it's going to touch somebody else. And so again, when I looked at this psalm, it didn't jump out at me. There was nothing in it that jumped out at me. And I knew I had to go further, and I knew I had to dig for gold. Because if the reason why this psalm was preserved was obvious, then everybody would read it and they would get what they need from it and move on. But if you and I read this and glance over it quickly, we're going to see that whatever was important, it's not obvious. Whatever is important here, it doesn't stand out. It's not obvious. Which, to me, that tells me that there's a risk involved, because the majority of people are going to read it and then move on, right? You're going to read this and you're going to move on, and it will do nothing for you. And so we talked a little bit about preservation, right? Things that are kept, things that are important, they need to be preserved. Just like, your handwritten notes when you were a little child, those were kept. Maybe your parents didn't keep them, but important things are kept. They're kept for a reason. So this psalm was kept for a reason. And it's up to us, it's up to the wise to seek out what's important, to seek out what needs to be learned. And I'm glad that you're here, because that means that this psalm is for you and it's for me, right? We're the wise ones who are going to seek out what's important about this psalm. Why was it preserved? What's important about it? What is it saying that is not so easily detectable? Because many are going to read this and they're just going to pass it over and go on about their lives. But not us. Not us. We can't take the lazy route. We cannot take the lazy route. We can't, look at something and just skip it and move on to the next best thing. And again, from a songwriting perspective, we need songs that matter, because songs influence people. No matter if you feel like it's entertainment, then it's going to influence you from an entertainment perspective. Songs will make you think about things, will make you think about life, will make you reflect about a relationship. Songs have a huge responsibility, and we need influencers in this generation to rise up and write songs that matter, songs that are going to provide a positive exchange and transformation. We need that because there's a lot of music out there that's not healthy. It's not healthy for our soul. It's not healthy for our mind. It's not healthy for the context of life. It just, there's songs out there that are, um, for the lack of a better word, that they're putting out garbage. And there's good songs out there, but we need songs that provide a positive exchange and transformation, right? Guys, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to point out right now that our society is in really bad shape. Our society is in bad shape. We're at a point of desperation and danger. There's good in the world. There's good in the world, but we hardly see it. We hardly see the good that is happening. Why? Because the media feeds us only what's bad, right? Because what's bad and what's whatever, that sells. That sells. What's bad and what's divisive, that stuff sells. And that's what we're seeing on our news feeds. That's what we're seeing. The other day, somebody posted a video of this woman and this man at the airport. Nobody shows what happened before, but they surely captured on camera the two of them arguing at the top of their lungs in each other's faces like this. And then they broke out into a fight, a man and a woman. That's complete strangers at the airport. Like, you can't even travel in peace. There's chaos everywhere. And it's like, whoa, people, we need to slow down. Because look, if I'm going to travel, I'm going to travel for leisure. Sometimes we travel for business, but even if you're going for leisure or for business, you don't want to deal with that nonsense at the airport. You don't want to deal with people arguing at the top of their lungs. What is that? What does that create? It creates chaos and frenzy, and it creates, anxiety. And so then you're on the plane like wired up. So our news media is showing us, right? Not just the news, but social media, all of that. It's showing us the things that just are not good, right? And it creates this sense that the world is going mad. That the world is going mad. So why am I saying all this? I'm saying this because there's a level of responsibility that if you're watching this and you were called to watch this, you were called to listen to this, there's a responsibility that we have, whether we are songwriters, whether we are creators of any kind of anything, content, whatever it is that you do as a profession. You are called to rise up. You're called to rise up and be an influencer of positive transformation. Positive transformation. Someone has to tell a different story, because the stories that we're getting out of social media, they're not good, right? And we're called to be unique. We're called to be unique in this world so that we can bring our uniqueness to the world. Our uniqueness offers the world something different, something that's not being offered currently, right? We see that in this world there's so much unhappiness. There's so much anger and hatred. And there's division that is plaguing us really, really badly. Yes? Yes, it is. It is plaguing us. People right now, they're hopeless. There's a lot of people that are hurting, and they say that hurt people, right? If you're hurt, then that's what you know, and that's what you produce. You're going to produce, if you're hurt, you're going to produce more hurt, because you're hurt. You're not whole. You're wounded. And so it's an unending cycle of hurt. There's mistreatment of one another. People just don't have patience anymore. Our fuses just go off in a moment, right? You're standing online and somebody cuts in front of you. Like, people just don't, like, oh, okay, go ahead. Maybe you're in a rush. No, it people break out into a shouting fest. And so people are mistreating each other, cursing each other out. There's lack of respect for people, for one another. And it's not shocking to see that anymore, because it's so obvious and it's so constant. You spend a moment on TikTok and you'll see the videos of cursing and fighting and just, again, incredible disrespect. Just pure hatred. There's confusion in our world. And I'm not here to just talk about all this stuff, but the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because I'm saying this particular psalm that we're going to study and look into, it was written for a purpose. There's a reason why this material was preserved. Because the problems that we have in our world today have always existed. They have always existed from the beginning of time. And so when there's confusion and there's people that are just relinquishing their identity and just becoming anything that they want on whatever day they get up, it's because people have lost sight of their purpose. That's why we have all of this nonsense and craziness that's happening in our world. People are so hurt and have experienced difficulty in life, and so all of that creates stress, anxiety inside, and because there's so much of it, all they can do is just put it out into the world. People have lost sight of their purpose. People have lost sight of the meaning of life. And that's where this psalm comes in. That's where this psalm comes in. Because it's about purpose. And when you first read it, it doesn't appear that that's what it's about. When you first read it, you can overlook it and just be like, I don't know what this is. It didn't do anything for me. But I believe that the reason why Moses preserved this particular psalm, it was because he needed to address the people. He wanted it to be preserved for generations to come, that people will have something to go back to and cling on to that, so that it would change their lives. Just like in his time and also in our time, people are searching for meaning and significance. Maybe you're searching for meaning and significance. Maybe you're still wondering, like, what's my life about? What is it too late for me? Is it too late for me to have purpose? Did I lose my purpose? Like, my life was so hard from the very beginning. Do I not have purpose? What did I come here to this world for? Right? These are questions that deep down inside, that's what we're going through. Those are the words we're hearing deep inside. And if we can use a song to give somebody a little something, a little taste of, look, think about this instead, then we've done our job, right? So again, people are searching for meaning and significance. And if someone doesn't have a clue on why they're here and what reason were they created, then they're going to spend the rest of their lives going on in a never-ending circle. And they're going to die without purpose and meaning. They're going to die without purpose and meaning because they didn't know. They couldn't tap into why they were created. What was their purpose? Okay? And that's what this psalm is about. And the reason why we know it's because that's what happened in Israel. Moses was the one. He was the one person that God found. In all of humanity, he was the one person that God found that he was able to like raise him up to lead people. And even he lost his purpose, and we're not even going to go there. I oh my gosh, I would love to go there, but look, Moses didn't find his purpose until he was 80 years old. He was 80 years old. He lived all that life beforehand, and we don't really know much about what he did. But at 80 years old, he was ready for God to use him, and God used him in a mighty way. He said, "Look, my people are crying out. They're in captivity. I need someone to just come up and trust me, and I will help you bring them out of captivity." Israel was liberated from captivity. But what happened? They remained emotionally captive. Even though they came out of that physical place of being slaves, they lived as slaves because they were slaves for so long. For so long. I believe it was 400 years. And what happened when God brought them out to a place where they can be free? They didn't know how to be free. And they forfeited their destiny. So if you ask, is it possible for someone to completely miss their purpose and live their life for nothing? The answer is yes. Yes, it is. Yes. Someone can completely miss their purpose and waste their life and live it for nothing. And that's the reality, and that's the truth. And we need to understand that so that we don't make that same mistake. So I'm here as a songwriter, not just as a songwriter, but as an influencer, to make sure that anyone under the sound of my voice does not lose out on their purpose. Yeah. I come across young people all the time. The gift to sing, the gift to play, and I don't want them to be in circles. To miss out on the opportunity that they were given, the gift that they were given to create. I don't want them to miss out on that opportunity. So if God gave me the ability to write songs, to influence people, to motivate people, then I'm going to use that. I'm committing from this point forward to live the rest of my life serving, because there's so much, there's good in the world. There's so much like pain and hurt and all of that, but there's also good. There's also good. So yeah, so my job is to connect people to their artistic destiny. And it's not just about playing music, and it's not just about writing great songs, because all of that is good for our own artistic expression, but there's purpose in it because it helps others. You know, what if I didn't help the young person or the older person who had it in them to write the most incredible lyrics, and they never got to do it because they were afraid and they didn't think their material was good enough, and someone on the other side of the world needed to hear those lyrics that they were supposed to compose, right? So we all kind of help each other. So my job is to uncover and then help people tap into their life's purpose. And so that's what this Psalm 90 is about, and that's what we're going to get into it. So I'm out of time. We're going to come back to this. If you're looking for your purpose and meaning, let's do this together. Let's do this together. Okay, so we'll get into it on our next episode. I promise. I'll try not to, go into my thinking mode here. All right. So we're going to close out. Be sure to follow us on Facebook under Second Generation Music. We're on Instagram under Second Gen Music. You can go to our website, secondgenmusic.com. We have links in the descriptions for you so that you can just hop right over there. And go sign up. Go sign up for our weekly blog. We just posted a blog yesterday about the songs of Psalms, so go check that out. And, give us your email and we'll stay connected with you. Now we're gonna begin our music classes in September, and we're excited about that because we want to raise up musicians and singers who are gonna influence our world with positive transformation. Positive transformation. All right. And there's a link in my bio here where you can buy us a coffee. You can buy us a coffee, and that little coffee will help us to train and develop skillful musicians and singers and songwriters who are going to transform their world for the better, because that's what we're called to do. And lastly, just be sure to share this with those that need to know a little bit more and need to understand their purpose in life. All right? Okay. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you. The Lord lift up his countenance toward you and be gracious to you. And the Lord give you his complete shalom, which is peace. Ciao, ciao.